Hello internets, Jesus loves you. My name's Cody and this is the Christian News Show we do on Tuesdays and Thursdays with geeksondergrace.com. But before we get into the news, I do want to just say real quick, we definitely have a Patreon, patreon.com/geeksondergrace if you just, wanted to help support what we do. And as of right now, we don't have a paid staff. That goes right back into the mission. Also, I have been married for a full year, which is insane. She still puts up with me. So Tia, I love you. Dinner is going to be awesome. But anyways, our first story is about history because I have a weird thing about history and it's going to be kind of hard to explain, but most people know the Bible was written by many people over hundreds of years. And according to historians, the longest time ago that the Bible could have been written was around 600 BC. And so anything before that was told by word of mouth. Like Noah didn't write down Genesis, it was just told to generation. And the way they determine this is by looking at the literacy of ancient Hebrews. Basically, they look at the oldest ancient Hebrew writings they can find, and then they have to decide how broad that literary education is, who would have had access to it, who would have actually written the Bible. And so as I mentioned, according to historians, there was no way the Bible could be written before 600 BC. But there's new evidence now that suggests that it wasn't 600 BC, it might have been even before 587 BC, before the destruction of Jerusalem. And I'm sure if you're not a huge history buff, you're like, okay, I don't care. But for me, this is really cool. Next up, and this will be a lot less winded, but there was a huge event that happened last weekend. And it's monumental. 30,000 pastors united for something called the United Cry. And these are all sorts of different pastors from different denominations and things like that, but they came together on one topic, and that was revival. And I want to stress that I love that this was Christian leaders. I think events for Christians are an amazing thing, but everything kind of trickles downhill. And so if your Christian leaders have a mindset of revival, then they're going to tell their flock about this revival as well. And for anyone who's not Christian and was like, revival, what are you talking about? Basically, Christians, we tend to have Christianity become a trend and then not a trend, back and forth throughout the decades. And it sounds more artificial when I put it this way, but a revival is really when Christianity becomes a trend again. Not because it's trendy or anything, but because so many Christians make it in their mindset that they need to go out and reach people and help them. I'm thinking about the fact that I said trend, and I hate that I said that word, but I mean, that's what it is. You have a lot of people coming to Christ, and so because of that, technically it would be a trend. But revivals are always awesome because with them, you're not only bringing people into Christianity, but you're showing Christians again to be disciples, and it just brings Christianity into really what it should be. Trust me, whether or not you're a Christian, you want Christians to do the work they're supposed to be doing. I think even atheists can agree that loving people is not a bad thing. And speaking of empathy, we go to the final story of the day, which does bring us to Nigeria. I think for most of us, we hear ISIS or Boko Haram and we think war, like we need to fight them. And I brought up a few weeks ago the concept of showing ISIS and Boko Haram empathy and how hard that really is. Like, understanding people whose actions you don't understand is not an easy thing to do. And so that's why I love this story about the Nigerian military, because they have created a rehab program for soldiers of Boko Haram. I've been reading in a little bit about the whole situation. There are a lot of people who have joined ISIS specifically, not Boko Haram, but probably Boko Haram as well. And the reason that they're joining them is because there's no other jobs. Like, you literally can't survive unless you join these people. And from there, they become brainwashed, bloodthirsty, they have PTSD. And so now that the Nigerian military is actually able to make some headway against Boko Haram, they have a lot of soldiers giving over their weapons and saying, hey, I surrender. I didn't want to be a part of this in the first place. Like, they took my town. What other choice did I have? And so the Nigerian military are taking them in with open arms and trying to get them back into society to be normal again. And that's just amazing. It's awesome. Question of the day brings us back to the revival conference type stuff, because I know a lot of people have gone to conferences. If you haven't, you should. So my question for you guys is, if you have gone to a Christian conference, what is the best one you've ever been to? And if you haven't, what is the conference you'd like to go see most, that you'd like to go attend? Want to know what you guys have to say? So please leave a comment in the comment section down below with your answer. Make sure you check out geeksondergrace.com for more geek content. My name is Cody Armour, bring you Christian news and a not-so-boring getaway every Tuesday and Thursday. In closing, let the haters hate, let the Christians pray, and to everybody who'd like to subscribe, I will see you later, and God bless.